Thank you, Mirren. I do not want to take up any more time. I think we will have a very interesting roundtable discussion on coordinated border management and the product identification code. Our facilitator is Mr. Robert Tavano, Vice President, Global Security Sales, Technology, Consulting and Integration Services of UNISYS Corporation. I think everybody knows UNISYS Corporation. He is an experienced international business professional. His current responsibility is to drive business development and sales of the UNISYS portfolio of enterprise security solutions across very many regions and countries. He is very specialized in domains like biometry-enabled identity and credentialing solutions, automated border control systems, registered traveler programs, airport security and passenger facilitation solutions. So very, very interesting. Please, Mr. Tavano, if I may ask you to come to the podium with your speakers on the round table.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think that we are running very late, so for the sake of your lunch, we should better get started and try to contain this session to its natural length and being as effective as possible. So I will ask all the distinguished panelists that are taking part in this session to be as concise as possible, and I will skip, unfortunately, their bios because we have really no time. You can read them, of course, in the minutes of this conference and in the program itself. I will briefly introduce each one, and I will ask you if you want to interrupt at any time to ask questions. We would like to keep this, as it was the intention at least, this session as interactive as possible. So it should be an exchange, a two-way street sort of, between this stage and the audience, of course. However, please be sure that you ask questions and you do not make statements. Otherwise, we do not have enough time to elaborate on what the topic is. We were asked to speak today about coordinated border management and discuss what the sort of the product identification code as a point in case within coordinated border management. And when you speak about coordinated actions, it always implies that two ends meet in a sort of a agreed upon framework so that they understand each other. Understanding each other implies development of trust, and trust is the foundation upon which commerce relies, since ever. And of course, understanding each other implies that there is whether formally defined or informally assumed, there is a certainty about the identity of the counterpart. So clarity of language, trust in the identity of the counterpart are the basics upon which the whole concept of commerce, transactions, interactions, and creation of wealth, therefore, is based. When it comes to international trade, well, this is a bit complex because you have multi-actors in a globalized scenarios like nowadays, we see not only different sort of non-harmonized situations in terms of legislation, culture, understanding of the meanings of certain basic elements of the value chain, for instance, and of course different needs, different priorities. Harmonizing all this into something that makes sense and expedite the process so that facilitate commerce across the borders is easily said, not as easily achieved. So this is the topic today. We will focus on the product identification code as an example, as a pointing case, as I said, of all this. And this group of distinguished panelists will now elaborate on this. So let me very briefly introduce you the name of our panelists that are here with us today, if I can find my, which is one of the things that you organize yourself and there you can find the papers. So let me introduce Janet Pence, first of all. She's with the DHS. And she's representing here Charles Armstrong, Assistant Commissioner of the Office of Information and Technology of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection in the Department of Homeland Security. We have Gareth Lewis acting on behalf of Mr. Franco Germano of the Canadian Border Protection Agency that could not, unfortunately, join us in Tallinn today. Doug Bailey is the CIO with the marketing, agricultural marketing services of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Ms. Christine Boldt of the Association of Floral Importers of Florida. Mr. Peter Alvarez, Senior Director with GS1, the Global Data Synchronization Network. And last but not least, Michael Kaskin, Director of Business Development, Government, with Dun & Bradstreet. So you see the government, two governments, US government and Canadian government, two agencies of a US government, industry, analyst, standards. We hope that all these, I would say, experienced players in the theater of border collaboration, cross-border collaboration, will provide you with food for thought, and please do not be shy and come to us with questions, if any. I would like to start immediately with the first question, and I would like to ask Janet to start with. Coordinated border management focuses upon concepts that rely on mutual recognition, as I said before, trusted trade programs between governments, and it's continuing to gain momentum as a means to expedite legitimate trade. What does CBM, so coordinated border management, look from a DHS privilege observatory from your own perspective, and what are the achievements that you can be, say, proud of, or that you can tell us, so far?